a situation when growth is not in abundance in a society, you have to step back and do things differently. And the first thing that we said to ourselves is that if we are going to be prosperous in Nigeria, it has to be that we are fully concerned about Nigerian communities and how the Nigerian people develop. And therefore, whatever we do has to be co-created with the Nigerian people. In my entire career in consumer goods, some of the most important and striking lessons that I have picked up in leadership and management have come in this period when we've spent a huge amount of time sitting sometimes with illiterate peasants in the northeast of Nigeria, in Ogun State, putting what we thought were classical business problems, like how do we crack distribution. They have sometimes come up with extremely unique solutions that we would not have thought up in any business school. And by implementing those systematically, we have found that in the last 3 years, now listen to this carefully, in the last 3 years, in terms of the Global Growth League in Unilever, we have always been among the top 2 by implementing those ideas. Sitting in Yola, in Maiduguri, listening to some ideas that I have been given that I would never have thought that I would have implemented. That's what got us here. So the whole thing is about when we think about how can we succeed in these markets, we have to think about integrated approaches and start from how do you create a long-term advantage for the people that you seek to serve. If you win there, then you have a model that is likely to survive into the future. In terms of the challenges, when I read the governor's speech, I came to the same conclusion that I always come to. The big challenge that we face in Africa, and I start from Africa and then come to Nigeria and then Ogun State, because I believe very passionately that the African project will not succeed if we don't get Nigeria to succeed. And I know the governor will very quickly tell me, and Nigeria will not succeed if Ogun State does not. And therefore I can link the causality that Africa will not succeed if Ogun State does not succeed. That will make him happy, I know that. But it is critical that we understand that we have to be part of the conversation and action to resolve the issues, not just think that we stand still because we find problems. Much of our conversation is usually about identifying the challenges and articulating new solutions. I've come to the conclusion that's never what the real issue is. The real issue is how do we focus on translating those insights into action. If we can get many of the things that we come up in conferences like this and summits like this done, then we start to see incremental progress. And if you're going to wait until all the problems of Nigeria are resolved before you take an interest, then maybe you're better off going to Luxembourg. Because there are many problems in Nigeria, but there are also many opportunities. And the two sit side by side. For every problem that I have seen in my 5-year journey in Nigeria, I am now able to see how I can also turn that into an opportunity and realize that if I can deal with that problem better than my competitor, I am able to grow, create more jobs, and then it becomes a virtuous cycle. As you create more jobs, you get more economic empowerment, they can consume your goods, and so on and so forth. Because with all due respect, the rich among us are not going to buy more of my products simply because they become rich. The governor will only put cream in his hair once, no matter how many billions more that he makes. But if I empower the people at the bottom of the society, they come into consumption. And then you get a model going. So that's been our experience. We have not participated in the recession. It happened around us, but we did not participate. We got very good growth years in the process.
Thank you for that. Actually, it raises a question. I mean, the Honorable Minister pointed out the world is supposed to grow 3.7% GDP, but how sustainable is that growth with the kind of income inequalities we have across the developed world? And of course, for us, we're not going to develop, as Yaw says, unless the bottom of the pyramid is getting richer, because the people at the top of the pyramid aren't going to buy any more Unilever products when they get richer. So I think we've got 4 fantastic perspectives on 4 sectors that are so critical to Ogun and to where Nigeria is going. I was very happy today to see that Dr. Rashid from the World Bank, the country head for the World Bank, is here, because sometimes when you're sitting at Abuja, maybe you don't always think at the state level, but at the end of the day, we were talked about the 4 million jobs a year we need to create. We need to create jobs in Sokoto, we need to create jobs in the Cross River, in Ondo, in Abia, and of course Ogun is creating jobs. But the things happen on the ground. So Dr. Rashid's going to give his thoughts on state level issues, but particularly Ogun level issues from the World Bank's perspective and some of the challenges we still have.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by extending my respectful regards to His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, for his leadership in the implementation of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which is a fantastic document prepared by the federal government, and which will set the stage for taking Nigeria to a higher growth trajectory, creating an employment, but most importantly, putting Nigeria towards a pace for peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. This is a fantastic opportunity for this government, that they have put a vision, that it is a forward-looking vision. Second, let me also express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ogun State, for hosting this forum and also for his visionary leadership in the states. I think the Ogun State is a trendsetter in many ways, and can in itself be a model for other states in Nigeria. So obviously the economic growth and recovery plan of the government is centered around 3 important pillars. One is investing human capital. Second is on maximizing finance for development. And third, building institutions for good governance. So I'm very happy to see that the Ogun State government is aligning itself to the economic recovery and growth plan pillars. So that is important. First is the human capital. Second, knowing that the government cannot do it alone, they need to bring in the private sector to invest in infrastructure, so that the government fiscal resources are directed towards the human capital and social goods, but also improving institutions. And His Excellency, the Governor, in his speech talked about institution. He is not interested in fixing the pipe, but he is interested in fixing the institution that fix the pipe. And that is what it is sustainable in the vision of this state government. So the World Bank is very pleased to be associated to the states through a performance-based engagement, and we are really focusing on agriculture and industrialization of the states. So basically the support that the World Bank is providing to the state is de-risking the state for private sector. So that means we are focusing on improving the business environment in the states by making sure that the more streamlined business processes, making sure that the businesses have the public good infrastructure that they are requiring to, to do their business. We are also working on increasing the agricultural productivity and market access. We are also looking at fostering skills, because we want to make sure that the skills that are developed in the states are matching the demand of the private sector. And finally, we are looking at strengthening the fiscal management in the states. So these are all commendable efforts of the states, and we really thank the states that they are invited us to be a partner in this journey. But this journey will not be complete if we don't have also engagement at the federal level. And there are some critical engagement at the federal level that are important for the states, basically on really addressing some of the critical constraints to growth. One is the power sector, and second is doing business. Without the power sector,